Hello, the internet. I am Zachimus Prime, aka Zachimus Prime, and today I'm doing another Transformers review. And today we're going to be studiously studying the Studio Edition Bumblebee. And yeah, I saw this at Fred Meyer, and I'm like, you know what? I am a fan of Bumblebee. At one point or another, I have owned pretty much every single movie class Bumblebee, pretty much. I mean, not like the one step changers and the like, kid ones, but I have I have had at one time or another pretty much all of the other. And I'm like, you know what? How can it be? How bad can it be? I used to own Nitro Bumblebee, so yeah. Um, I don't know. There's some things I like about it, and there's some things that I'm kind of iffy about it. The thing that first, when I pulled it out of the box, which I don't know why you don't really notice it when it's in the box. You gotta pull it out and hold it in your hand. But this sucker's kind of small. Like, he's smaller than I expected him to be. He feels much smaller than a regular deluxe. And I know that part of that comes down to in the Studio series, there's an effort being put forth to make sure that all of the figures are like movie scale with each other. And Bumblebee, being basically the smallest character in the movie, is, of course, the smallest figure in the Studio series line. So, yeah, there's that. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to leave this in by saying if a smaller than average deluxe is worth $25 to you, then go for it. I know that one of the things that I mean, at this point, I'm going to bring up a comparison to third-party figures in that Hasbro has given, I mean, there's a bit of extra design and a bit of extra detail and a bit of extra spit and polish on this. And I've been saying for quite some time that to compete with the third-party guys, what Hasbro really needs to do is release a line of figures that's, maybe a little more expensive than your average figure, but has got more work put into it. And I mean, I don't know that this necessarily has more work put into it than like a Revenge of the Fallen figure. But it definitely has more work put into it, feels like, than some of the newer figures they've been coming out with. And so maybe this is basically the answer to what I've been talking about. So, but yeah, let's get into talking about the figure itself in a little bit more depth. I like that he's got these kind of like sub wings here, like what the Masterpiece movie Bumblebee has. I do kind of wish that they had a point of articulation down here somewhere, not just up here. Again, as with the movie Bumblebee, the Masterpiece Bumblebee. But his detailing and design is actually really quite good. There's a few issues with it. But it's not a terrible figure by any stretch of the imagination. In terms of posability, his head is on a ball joint, but it looks up and down a little bit. He'll look up a lot when it's to the side, but his head, moves around. His shoulders are on ball joints with a good cut on top, so they'll go quite a bit out. And then they also are on this transformation joint, which it only lends it down. So his arm will go out, will go all the way around until it starts banging into his wings. He's got a bicep swivel built into his elbow. Elbow gets you 90 degrees straight up. No wrist swivel, but his hand does fold. That's the transformation thing, but I suppose you can be, if you really want to pose it in such a way. On this side here, he's got his elbow. This is actually his only accessory that he comes with, and this is a swappable parts forming. You pull that out. He's got an alternate forearm. This is more or less identical with his forearm on this side. more or less, I say, because it's also got this little tab here. You can pull it off and you can kind of tuck it up in there to kind of tuck it out of the way. Similarly, if you've got him like so, you can stick this back there, but there's really no good way to stick it back there except that it like hangs completely out. And so you can like see it like hanging out here. Not the best design. So he does technically have weapon storage. Oh man, wait till we get to alt mode. But he does have a waist joint. It feels like there's a detent at the front, but I know that that's just because that's where the plastic's been resting for however long it's been since this was made. Hips are on ball joints, so they'll go forward quite a bit, go back quite a bit, go out all the way, full Van Damme there. Does have a thigh swivel. Knee bend here. Knee bend is about 90 degrees, we'll say. Lots of nice little details in there. Lots of cool details. It's one of the things I do like about the movie toys is that they tend to have a lot of mechanical detail. His ankle tilts quite nicely. There's no pivot whatsoever. There's a transformation joint here, so he can be like tall Bumblebee if you need him to, but yeah, no. That's it for posability on him. I already swapped out his arm. You do need to swap this out before you transform him because it won't transform with this on. So to get him transformed up, first thing we're going to do is we're going to work on the feet. So you're going to take this and extend this out on this double joint. And this right here, you'll see that his ankle is attached to this little black block here. And when the edge of this block lines up with the edge of this thing here, then you can push that out like so. And then these are going to kind of go up there like that. We're going to open up the windows here. And then we're going to bend this on this joint in here, and it's going to come around and fold up just like that. So same with this other one. Bend it around. Fold this in tandem, kind of. Fold this plate up like that. Then we're going to take these hip armors here and fold them around. There's a little tab. They will kind of just go in together. There's a tab back here. It'll fit into just a little recess in here. Not even really a slot, just a little, place for it to live in. And then last but not least for the legs, you've got this tab here, and there's a slot that you can't really see on the back of this black leg. And those tabs will just kind of fit into there, and that's the back end of him, more or less done. There's some tabs here. They don't really like to hang out together. They will come untabbed in just a little bit. I'll have to deal with them again later, but that's just how that is. For the front end, we're going to pull up on this little plate here that allows this whole thing to move up. We've got to get this out of the way. On my particular one, this connection right here just tended to be a bit, and it fell off quite a few times when I first started messing with them, but it's fallen off less since then. Partly because I, kind of spent some time squeezing these together. I mean, without take it off and then squeeze these together, kind of bend it back into place. Actually, you can see even maybe a little bit of stress that I did on that. Whoopsie. But it works better than it did when I got it, so I guess that's something. We're going to bend these up at this hinge. There's a tab here, a little peg, a little hole. You know what to do with pegs and holes. And we're going to fold this whole thing in. It is kind of interesting that he's got all this faux detail here. You know, the fake hood and the fake stripes and the fake grill and whatnot. And then you cover it all up with the real one. It's kind of a fun little detail. What's really kind of cool about it is that, I mean, there's a indentation around that, but you don't really notice it. So that's cool. Just the way that they designed the hood to separate out, keep the movie accurate details, and then also like kind of, you know, hide the evidence, as it were. So we're just going to kind of fold these into here for a second. Twist the arms around, fold the hands up. So now what we want to do is we want to fold these wheels in like so. And then we want to take this and push this down. Now, when I first got this, okay, so this pin in here, it still sticks out a little farther than I think it should. But after I've transformed it a few times, you can kind of see that I've just ended up, you know, wrecking the inside of this part here. And now it's, you know, got enough clearance. On this side, you can also see some issue there. That's because there's a big old chunk of flash. So they just take these pins, right, and they push them through. And if there's anything in the way, it just gets shoved out of the way. And so there's a big old buildup of plastic on that side of that pin. And I had to scrape that off. I would like to have scraped it off with a knife, but all I had on me at the time was my keys. So I scraped it off with my keys. So the hood comes down and you kind of just cram it between these lights here. You may have to rotate them a little bit, even though that seems kind of counterintuitive. And it's not working this time. Like sometimes, I swear to God, it just goes right in, and sometimes it just is being stupid. Yeah, I guess I just rotated them the wrong way. All right, so there's that. Now, what's going to happen is when you put, because I have this hanging down for clearance, we're going to put this up, and you'll see that there's these little half slots here, and there's corresponding half tabs there. And then these tabs are going to tuck underneath this window here. So we're just going to kind of peg those into place, and that fell off. There we go. Now, last but not least, close the doors and align everything into place. There are these tabs that you'll need to kind of keep an eye out for, because if you just kind of force them around, you'll probably end up damaging the finish of, yeah. And so these go into here. There's these tabs that kind of slot into these slots, and then fold this down, and that is the car mode, basically. And it's not a perfect car mode. I do really, really, really like that we're getting an updated version of the old 74 Camaro. I happen to really like the 74 Camaro, and I happen to really like that Bumblebee turned into one. I also really like that you'll notice that he doesn't have all the, like, you know, faded paint job details on it. Just because I like the look of this enough that I would have wished for a clean version if all we came out with was the grimy version. And I know that there's people out there who are just like, oh man, I really wish that we had the grimy version because it's screen accurate. Because it is screen accurate. But I don't know. I dig it. In the alt mode here, these panels do hang down quite a bit, but they don't affect the clearance of the car at all. So I don't have a problem with that really. And they are just pegged in basically. So like if you like absolutely hate them, you can pull them out and get a little bit cleaner alt mode. There is no place to store this gun, by the way. Oh, I guess maybe you can almost pretend that it fits in there if those aren't in the way. I say that there's no place to store it, but actually, there's next to this little yellow tab here. This is a peg. There's a little tab here, and I was looking at that, and I'm like, you know what? That doesn't have any paint on it. That's an intentional thing. It's got to go somewhere. And there's these weird. I don't know why they're all the way around, but there's these weird square holes all the way around it. And of course, the only one they work in is this one right here. You can peg it into there. And that's his vehicle storage. And yeah, it looks completely ridiculous. But, you know, I guess you got to do what you got to do. But yeah, there's your movie Bumblebee in his Camaro mode, and I think it's a pretty decent transformation. I do kind of wish that he was bigger. I would have felt like I got more bang for my buck, as it were. As it is, I just feel slightly cheated. I'm still debating whether I want to take it back and return it, because I can certainly do that. I've still got my receipt and everything like that. Or if I want to just buy a few more of the Studio Series figures, because they are designed to be all presented together, and I can't help but feel that changes, you know, like I mean, I guess what I'm getting at is maybe this figure isn't like that great on its own, but maybe when you have it with all of the other figures, it's gonna look great just having the whole set of them there. So maybe I'll do that. I don't know. I'll have to think about that, because they are like $25 per deluxe and $37 per Voyager and 50 something for the leaders. That being said, that leader class Blackout shall be mine. He looks really great, even though his hands don't have any rotation to them. Wish that they did, but anyhow, Studio Series Bumblebee, and I didn't even bring out the backdrop. The backdrop is actually really cool, and it's really cool that it got added in. And I should have shown it in robot mode, but yeah, whatevs, guys. Sorry about that. Didn't think about it. Was focusing on the toy. This is one of the few cases where maybe you might want to keep your packaging. I don't know. They did this with the first edition Transformers Prime figures. I didn't keep any of the packaging for them either, because I'm not really much of a packaging guy. You know, that's not generally the way I intend to display my toys, and I don't think that, you know, I don't know that I'm going to display these ones that way either. But if that's what you like, I think it's going to look great. Anyhow, that's my 2 bits on the Studio Series Bumblebee. That's it. I'm going to sign off now. Everybody, be good to each other. Have a great day, and I'll see you later.